Welcome to the Deep Dive. We are at episode 20.
Wow.
20 deep dives.
I mean, can you believe it? It feels like just yesterday we were starting this whole thing, and now we've already explored 20 different fascinating topics.
I know, it's pretty remarkable how quickly the time has passed.
I know. And to celebrate this milestone, you have steered us towards a show that was basically a cultural phenomenon in the late 2000s and early 2010s.
It was a very impactful show.
Glee. We have been digging around behind the scenes of Glee, and let me tell you, it's been an adventure. Get ready for some unexpected turns.
Really?
Backstage stories and details that will make you rethink everything you thought you knew about Glee.
I'm intrigued.
Buckle up, because we're about to take a deep dive into the world of Glee, starting with the very beginning, the spark that ignited this whole phenomenon. And believe it or not, it all started with Ryan Murphy, and his idea was even connected to Emma's favorite musical in the show.
But here's where it gets even more interesting for you. Before McKinley High even existed, Murphy had already crossed paths with some of the actors who would go on to be central to Glee.
Oh.
Leah Michele, who, is Rachel Berry,
Yeah.
and Jenna Ushkowitz, the amazing Tina Cohen-Chang,
Right.
were both in the original Broadway production of Spring Awakening. Leah was the lead. Wendla and Jenna was an amazing understudy covering multiple roles. It's like the universe was giving us a little hint of what was to come.
Yeah, it's like a preview.
Right. This early connection highlights how tight-knit the Broadway community can be and how these relationships can actually shape casting decisions in television.
It's fascinating how those connections can really impact someone's career and open up opportunities.
Absolutely. Now let's talk about those iconic roles and how they were cast. Some of the stories are pure Hollywood drama.
Oh, I love a good casting story.
Right. Take Rachel Berry's audition.
Mm-hmm.
Leah Michele was apparently in a car accident on the way to the audition,
No way.
but still showed up with glass in her hair and everything.
Wow, dedicated.
Talk about dedication. And she sang On My Own from Les Miserables, which actually ended up the pilot episode full circle moment. And get this, Diana Agron, who played Quinn Fabray, also auditioned for the role of Rachel.
Oh, wow.
Can you imagine how different the whole dynamic of the show would have been? It really makes you think about all those sliding doors moments in casting.
It does make you wonder what could have been.
Right. Now, for Tina Cohen-Chang, played by Jenna Ushkowitz, her audition song was Waiting for Life to Begin from Once on This Island.
I love that musical.
Me too. And here's a fun fact. Tina's full name in the show is Tina Cohen-Chang with 2 C's.
Interesting.
Apparently in hyphenated last names, sometimes both initials stick around. Who knew?
You learn something new every day.
Right. And it's just a funny little detail because, you don't really write a stutter.
Right, it's a spoken thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about Mercedes Jones, played by Amber Riley, the powerhouse vocalist, her audition song. The ultimate diva anthem, and I am telling you, from Dreamgirls, not Mean Girls, as one source mistakenly said.
Easy mistake to make.
It's a funny one, though. That song choice, though, screams vocal talent and strong, confident personality.
Totally agree.
Mercedes in a nutshell, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, Finn Hudson, Corey Monteith, he was so nervous about the singing part of the audition that he initially sent in a self-tape of him acting and playing the drums.
Really?
Can you imagine? But they insisted on hearing him sing, and he went with REO Speedwagon's I Can't Fight This Feeling Anymore, which, funnily enough, also made it into the pilot episode.
It's like destiny.
I know, right? And here's a fun fact. Darren Criss, Jonathan Groff, and Aaron Tveit all auditioned for Finn, too. Big names in musical theater.
Wow, that's a talented pool of actors.
Right. And rumor has it that Tveit didn't get the part because he was considered too handsome.
Oh, come on.
Can you believe that? The world of casting can be a mysterious place.
Definitely subjective.
Right. Now, the story of Kurt Hummel and how he came to be on Glee is super interesting. Chris Colfer originally auditioned for Artie.
Wow, interesting.
Ryan Murphy was so impressed by him that he actually created the character of Kurt specifically for Chris.
That's amazing.
I know, right? And there's more to it. The initial concept for the pilot included an Indian boy named Rajesh who got bullied by Puck and Finn elements of Rajesh mixed with some of Chris Colfer's own personality, kind of merged together and evolved into the Kurt Hummel we know and love.
Wow, so it was like a combination of different ideas and personalities.
Exactly. Well, and the name Kurt came from Kurt Von Trapp in The Sound of Music, which was a role Chris played early on in his career.
Oh, that's cool.
I know. And Hummel, that came from the Hummel figurines Ryan Murphy's mother collected.
What a unique inspiration.
A character built from the most unexpected pieces. This really shows how creative the process in television can be.
It's a reminder that sometimes the most unexpected things can lead to something amazing.
Absolutely. A few more casting tidbits for you. Skylar Astin auditioned for Puck Kristen Cavallari for Quinn. And get this, allegedly the entire cast of Boches.
What?
And that's all they say.
They leave us hanging.
I know. It makes you wonder who else was almost in the Glee Club, right? Now, let's go back to those audition songs. They really did tell us a lot about these characters. Mercedes with that power ballad announcing her arrival.
Right.
Kurt with his higher vocal range, perhaps hinting at feeling unseen. Tina, the edgy goth with the hidden shyness. Maybe she even sang I Kissed a Girl by Katy Perry for her audition.
I could see that.
Right. And Artie, well, we didn't see his audition in the pilot, but his wheelchair and his glasses definitely made an impression even before he sang a word.
Definitely. And remember that moment where Tina writes her name with a stutter?
Oh, yeah.
It always makes me chuckle. It's a funny little inconsistency that's easy to miss.
It's a classic Glee quirk.
Exactly.
All right, let's dive into the pilot episode itself.
Yeah.
Right from the start, we see Rachel getting Sandy Riderson fired because he gave a solo to someone else.
Classic Rachel.
Right, and she makes it very clear that it's not because she's anti-gay. I have 2 gay dads. I mean, come on, hilarious.
That's a good line.
And then we have those voiceovers for the main characters, which became a signature of Glee, though maybe a little overused in the pilot.
Yeah, they definitely toned it down in later seasons.
Yeah, and who can forget Rachel's intense personality and, of course, the slushies, that iconic Glee form of bullying.
These slushy facials.
I know, right? Technically assault, but it became a staple of the show.
Definitely memorable.
Oh, and that first Glee Club rehearsal.
A mess.
A complete disaster.
Yes.
Sit down, you're rocking the boat. They fell apart.
They needed some serious work.
They needed Finn. And Quinn Fabray, right away we see her as the quintessential mean girl.
HBIC.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then the crushing moment when they see Vocal Adrenaline perform Rehab.
Talk about intimidating.
Right. And little inconsistency here in that scene. Vocal Adrenaline is called last year's regional champion.
Uh-huh.
But later on, they're established as 3-time national champions.
Mm-hmm. A little continuity error.
Someone in the writing room might have had a slip-up. Oh, and fun fact, in that rehab scene, if you look closely, you can actually see legs warming up in the background.
Really?
Those are the legs of Glee's choreographer, Zach Woodley.
That's
a little Easter egg for the fans. And let me tell you, that pilot episode was jam-packed with plot. Puck reveals Finn doesn't have a prostate.
Yeah, where did that come from?
I know, right? Terry announces her fake pregnancy.
Oh, yeah.
Which leads Will to almost become an accountant. Remember him singing, "Leaving on a jet plane?" while filling out that job application.
Classic Will.
Classic Will. And then the awful moment where Puck and the football team trap Artie in a porta potty.
That was rough.
Ugh, I know. But Finn steps in and stops them. Key moment showing Finn's potential to be a good guy.
Right.
And then there's Emma finding that 1993 McKinley High Glee Club Nationals video.
Oh, yeah, that was sweet.
A last-ditch effort to stop Will from quitting. But it wasn't enough until he heard the iconic opening of Don't Stop Believing coming from the auditorium.
That scene gets me every time.
Me too. It was the very early version of New Directions, even a quick glimpse of Sue Quinn and Santana.
The OG Unholy Trinity.
I know. That performance changed Will's mind. And just like that, Season 1 was in motion, complete with all those classic love triangles. Rachel liking Finn being with Quinn.
High school drama at its finest.
I know, right? It's really amazing how much the pilot set the stage for the entire series.
It's a great example of a pilot done right.
It really is. So we've talked about how Glee took over the world, but how did it actually tell its stories? It was a bit of a mix, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a blend of episodic and serialized storytelling.
Episodic and serialized storytelling, what's the difference?
Okay, so episodic shows have self-contained stories that are wrapped up in a single episode each week as a new adventure viewers can jump in at any point.
Right.
Think like a procedural drama like Law & Order every week, a new case.
Got it.
Serialized shows, on the other hand, have ongoing storylines that develop over multiple episodes. Think Game of Thrones or Breaking Bad. You have to watch everything to keep up.
And back then, missing an episode meant you were pretty much out of the loop, right?
Yeah, this was 2009 before streaming took over, so missing an episode was a big deal.
You'd be scrambling for reruns or waiting for those DVDs to come out. Ah, the good old days.
Right.
Glee, though, was smart. They blended these two formats, especially in that first season. Lots of mini plots that were resolved within an episode, but also these big, overarching stories that unfolded throughout the season.
The best of both worlds.
Exactly. It kept you hooked week after week.
So smart.
And the structure of those early seasons was so consistent, almost like a roadmap for the story.
Yeah, for the first 3 seasons, they pretty much stuck to the same formula. Mid-season finale was sectionals. Season finale was regionals or nationals.
Win sectionals, maybe stumble at regionals and aim for nationals.
Pretty much.
The classic underdog story.
Exactly. The competition plot was straightforward. It gave the seasons a clear direction.
But they also added all those other storylines, right?
Mm-hmm.
Relationships, personal struggles, social issues. It wasn't just about singing and dancing.
Right. They knew they couldn't just rely on the competitions to keep people engaged.
And that brings us to the core of the show. The relationships, the character dynamics, and Glee certainly delivered on that front.
Some truly memorable pairings and rivalries.
Let's talk about Rachel and Jesse St. James.
Mm-hmm.
That whole push and pull was intense.
Those two were like two sides of the same coin, both incredibly ambitious, both insanely talented. It was inevitable they would clash.
And then there was the Run, Joey, Run music video debacle.
Oh my God.
Jesse, the supposed perfect show choir rival, creating this over-the-top video with Rachel, Quinn, and Santana as these dramatic love interests.
It was so ridiculous and so Glee.
I know, right? What's interesting, though, is how differently Jesse and Rachel probably saw that whole situation.
True.
Jesse probably felt genuinely betrayed by Rachel, like she was using him to make Finn jealous.
Which she probably was, let's be real.
Right. From his perspective, he put himself out there and got played.
I can see that.
Back then, I probably sided more with Rachel, but now I can see his point.
It's all about perspective.
Exactly. And it highlights those early flaws in both their characters.
Totally. Season 1 did a great job of showcasing those imperfections. None of the characters were perfect. They made mistakes. They had their flaws. It felt real.
Like real high school.
Exactly.
Remember that whole Tina Finn conflict in the theatricality episode?
Mm-hmm.
All because of Mr. Figgins' band going goth and the whole Twilight craze sweeping McKinley High.
Oh, yeah.
So relatable for anyone who went through high school in the late 2000s.
So true.
And Kurt's crush on Finn. Oh, my heart. That unrequited love, it definitely fueled a lot of his actions.
It is a big part of his journey.
It was. Like trying to get their parents together.
Oh, yeah. Matchmaker Kurt.
Speaking of interesting characters, let's talk about Brittany S. Pierce. Bless her heart.
Oh, Brittany.
Her perceived lack of intelligence was a running joke, and I'm not sure how to feel about that looking back.
It was definitely played for laughs.
But it also led to some inconsistent character moments,
Right.
like when she got upset with Artie for agreeing that she was stupid, which is basically her whole persona. I mean, come on.
Right. It didn't really track.
And that early Santana-Brittany flirtation, there were definitely some red flags there.
Some questionable power dynamics, for sure.
Yeah, and the whole Artie-Brittany-Santana cheating storyline just felt messy.
It did.
It's like they couldn't figure out how to do breakups without a ton of drama.
It's a shame because they could have explored those emotions in a more nuanced way.
Agreed. Okay, let's try to move on to some lighter Season 2 moments. Remember the prom queen episode?
Oh, yeah.
When the prom band canceled and the Glee Club had to step in?
Classic Glee chaos.
Classic. And then the episode with Sue's sister's funeral.
That was surprisingly emotional.
It was, especially with Finn and Kurt's Willy Wonka-themed funeral ideas.
Okay, that was a bit much.
A bit much, but also kind of sweet in their own way. And, of course, the big Finn-Quinn breakup so he could be with Rachel.
It felt a little convenient plot-wise.
Right. Like they just needed to get those two back together. And then the Season 2 Nationals trip to New York City, the most expensive episode of the season.
They went all out.
They did. It felt like half the episode was them in their hotel room writing songs.
Yeah.
Probably because they spent all their money on those New York location shots.
Makes sense.
But we did get that hilarious scene with Rachel and Kurt sneaking into the Gershwin Theater.
Oh, yeah, living their Broadway dreams.
Kids, do not try that at home. And Finn's Hallmark-inspired date with Rachel.
Oh, so cheesy.
Cheesy but cute. And Will almost threw away another chance at Broadway for the Glee Club.
Will.
I know, right? His priorities were all over the place.
Definitely a recurring theme.
And the Rachel and Finn kiss at Nationals.
Oh.
So much drama leading up to that moment.
It was.
And we can't forget the Blame It on the Alcohol episode. Not exactly the show's finest moment.
No, not really.
It's funny, though, even with those questionable moments, Season 2 is still a fan favorite.
It was peak Glee.
It really was. 2010 to 2011 was Glee Mania. And with that came all the merch, the tours. It was a full-blown phenomenon.
It was everywhere.
It was. Remember the Glee tour?
Oh, yes.
Mall appearances, Hot Topic meet and greets.
The early days of fandom.
They even sang the national anthem at the World Series.
Wow.
Amber Riley killed it vocally, but I heard some of the other cast members weren't too thrilled about being there.
Really?
And the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade invitation, that got rescinded because of network rivalry.
Ouch.
I know, right? But hey, they did get to perform for President Obama and Oprah, so
That's pretty cool.
that makes up for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the concert tours.
Yes.
Inspired by those High School Musical tours, I'm sure.
Probably.
The first North American tour in 2010, I still kind of regret not going.
I bet it was a blast.
The set list was all those big hits from season 1, so good, and then the 2011 tour even bigger.
It was.
And they even turned it into Glee. The 3D concert movie.
I remember that.
I actually saw it in theaters. It was an experience, let's just say that. And Gwyneth Paltrow even made a guest appearance for the New Jersey shows.
That's cool.
I know, right?
Yeah.
That's a shame they never did another full tour after that, though. I heard it was pretty exhausting for the cast, especially the women.
I can imagine juggling, filming, and touring like that would be intense.
Must have been a whirlwind. Okay,
Yeah.
so the movie was surprisingly short, though. Only like 66 minutes of actual concert footage.
Really?
They had to add 4 non-diegetic music videos just to fill time.
Oh, those random music video interludes.
I know, right? And they cut Tina's solo My Body from the movie.
Oh, no.
Apparently the rumor was that Leah McHale wanted another solo.
Come on.
I know, poor Jenna.
So unfair.
And honestly, the movie itself wasn't that great. The set design was minimal, and some of the performances felt a little flat.
Yeah, it didn't really capture the energy of the live shows.
Exactly. You know, after watching the movie and then doing some digging, I actually think the 2010 tour was way better.
Really? What made it better?
The audience seemed so much more into it. The camera work and the fan footage was surprisingly good, and the set list followed the order of the songs from season 1.
Oh, that's a nice touch.
Right, and the costumes. They actually used the original outfits from the show for the 2010 tour.
Oh, wow. Attention to detail.
I know, right? But for the 2011 tour in the movie, some of the costumes were just wrong. Like Rachel's Don't Stop Believing dressed the wrong color.
No way. They had the original right there.
They did. And the blue tracksuits in the movie completely different from the red shirts and jeans from the pilot.
That's so weird.
I know, right? But those Letterman jackets from the tour, iconic. I still want one.
They're pretty cool.
All right, after all that on-screen, on-stage Glee, let's talk about the Glee project.
The reality show spinoff.
Yes, the show with the rather unusual premise.
So contestants competed for a 7-episode guest starring role on Glee.
Right. It wasn't just about being the best singer or dancer. It was about inspiring Ryan Murphy.
Interesting.
He is a judge, jury, and executioner, and questioning his vision was not a good idea.
Sounds intense.
It was, and it gave you a glimpse behind the Glee curtain because a lot of the crew from Glee worked on the Glee project, too.
Oh, so you really got a sense of the show's behind-the-scenes workings.
Absolutely.
Good.
Now let's talk about Zach Woodley.
The choreographer.
He was definitely a character. Constant critiques those weird mouth noises he made during rehearsals,
He was intense.
to say the least. And reportedly, at least 3 contestants were eliminated because of their interactions with him.
Oh, wow.
One was sent home because another contestant whispered to Ryan that she had a bad attitude with Zach.
Yikes. Talk about a pressure cooker.
It was. And then there was Nikki Anders. She seemed to have it out for some of the younger contestants like Lindsay.
Right.
The whole Lindsay is fake thing felt very manufactured for drama.
Definitely.
And then there were moments that crossed some lines.
Wait.
Like the director Eric White telling Marissa to kiss Samuel without Samuel knowing about it.
What?
Yeah, or Lindsay suddenly kissing Cameron on camera, and he clearly was uncomfortable because he had a girlfriend.
That's not okay.
It felt very exploitative. And then the judging system itself. Ryan Murphy apparently didn't even watch most of the performances.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he based his decisions mostly on the bottom 3 contestants.
That doesn't seem very fair.
So if you were consistently good like Samuel was in the beginning, Ryan might not have even seen you perform.
Wow. Talk about a flawed system.
It was. They pushed the contestants to be vulnerable, focus on sad emotions, be real, while still performing. Zach would even yell at them for breaking character between takes.
That's a lot of pressure.
It was. And the lack of actual feedback and coaching it felt very manipulative.
Like they were more interested in the drama than actually mentoring these young performers.
Exactly. The rumored strategy for winning was to create a specific persona, be agreeable mess-up on purpose during group challenges, so you'd end up in the bottom 3, and then wow Ryan during your last chance performance.
Sounds a little calculated.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But it also speaks to what the show seemed to prioritize.
True.
And Cameron's story was interesting. He had that coffee shop singer vibe. The mentors loved him. Ryan was fascinated by his Christian faith,
Mm-hmm.
and then Cameron just left, even though Ryan wanted him to win.
Wow, that's a big decision.
It was. And it could have changed the whole trajectory of the show. Danian might have been eliminated. Samuel might not have won initially.
It's interesting to think about how things could have gone differently.
And Ryan saying he'd never done a Christian character before.
Wasn't Quinn kind of a Christian character?
Yeah, and Mercedes.
Uh-huh.
Remember Sue's line about Quinn being the president of the celibacy club who wears a cross? I mean, come on.
It's like he forgot about his own character.
It's weird, right?
Hmm.
And then the double win for Samuel and Damian is a surprise. But their prize, those 7-episode arcs, they didn't really live up to the hype.
Not really.
Rory Flanagan, the Irish exchange student, he didn't show up until episode 4 of season 3, and his storylines were so stereotypical.
Like what?
Chicks dig the accent.
Yes, but
Plus,
like that.
I know. And then he gets deported back to Ireland so much for making a lasting impact on the club.
Definitely underwhelming.
And Joe Hart, he didn't appear until episode 13, introduced as a homeschooled Christian with dreadlocks.
Okay.
His biggest storyline was getting a semi while stretching with Quinn.
Seriously?
And he never got a solo performance. He was just kind of there.
That's disappointing.
Kitty called him Avatar Sue, called him Jar Jar Binks. Not exactly the triumphant prize they were promised.
Definitely not.
At least the runners-up, Lindsay Pierce as Harmony and Alex Newell as Unique, they had smaller roles, but arguably more impactful.
I agree. Their storylines felt more fleshed out.
Harmony's amazing vocals at Sectional's Unique's journey with performing in drag and finding acceptance, those felt like real contributions to the show.
They did.
Okay, moving on to season 3 of Glee itself, we got some new characters like Sugar Mata, the tone-deaf but confident singer with the rich dad.
Oh, yeah. Sugar.
She added a whole new level of chaos to the Glee Club.
Definitely. And Shelby Corcoran came back, adopted Quinn's baby Beth, and took over vocal adrenaline. What?
Drama.
That definitely shook things up.
And the big theme of season 3 was graduation, those impending departures.
Right? The seniors moving on.
Rachel and Kurt obsessed with getting into NYAD, leading to those West Side Story auditions.
Hi.
And Kurt gets cast as Officer Krupke, a non-singing role.
Wait, Krupke doesn't sing G, Officer Krupke.
No, that's Action Song. Did the writers even know that?
You'd think they would have done their research.
You would think. And the whole double casting of Maria with Rachel and Mercedes, then Mercedes backs out, it was a lot.
Sounds like it.
And that whole Asian F comment about Mike Chan getting an A in chemistry.
Was so cringeworthy.
So bad. And it felt like Mike and Tina were always pushed to the side, rarely got to be funny or have storylines that weren't based on stereotypes.
I agree they deserved better.
Sue Sylvester seemed to calm down a little. Her schemes were less outlandish.
She mellowed out a bit.
A bit, and we got Roz Washington, the amazing new antagonist.
She's great.
Her dynamic with Sue was gold.
It was.
And Tina's feeling of being overlooked, it all came to a head of the Body Swap episode, props.
Yeah.
But ironically, Rachel playing Tina got more lines and a solo than Tina had all season.
What? Sad's messed up.
It was. Such a missed opportunity for Tina, and the graduation outcomes happen.
Some happy endings, some not so much.
And we had those thieved episodes. Michael Jackson, Saturday Night Fever, Whitney Houston felt like the show was trying to do a lot.
They were ambitious.
They were. And as Will's role got smaller, Rachel took center stage, the new protagonist.
A passing of the torch.
Whether you liked it or not.
Right.
Which brings us to a topic. I have some thoughts about Glee's, let's just say, interesting understanding of musical theater. Buckle up.
This should be good.
So much to unpack here. How about Will and Neil Patrick Harris auditioning for Les Miserables with a rock duet Dream On?
No.
I mean, in what world? Musical theater auditions are all about showcasing your vocal range and choosing an appropriate song.
16 bars, maybe 32 if you're lucky.
Exactly. And Rachel quitting Cabaret, where she had the lead role, to come back and be in the Glee ensemble, it makes no sense for her character.
Yeah, she was so ambitious it doesn't track that she would throw away a lead role like that.
And the fact that she didn't have a resume or headshot, I mean, come on. She's been training since she was a child. That's like musical theater 101.
Yeah, those are essential tools for any performer.
We'll just casually assigning roles for Rocky Horror like it's a game. Finn and I will be Brad and Janet Kirk can be Frankenfurter.
No auditions.
Nope, just we'll decide.
That's not how it works.
Not even a little bit.
Yeah.
And the sets for McKinley's musicals, they look like Broadway productions. My high school productions were held together by duct tape and prayers.
I can relate.
Kurt and Rachel having a sing-off for Maria in West Side Story, using a song Not even from the show, out here on my own, from Fame. Callbacks are for songs from the show.
It's all about seeing if you can handle the actual material.
Exactly. And Mercedes turning down the role because she thinks she's better than Rachel, even though Murray is a soprano role and Mercedes is an alto.
Okay, that makes zero sense.
It's Glee logic. The Jets singing during America in West Side Story, you need licenses to perform musicals, and you can't just change the material like that.
Yeah, MTI would have a field day with that.
They would. And a former student just coming back to play Rizzo in Grease with 1 day's notice.
That's so random.
And Santana suddenly back from Kentucky. Why not give the role to Tina? My poor girl was constantly sidelined.
It's true, they didn't always give Tina the best opportunities.
No, they didn't. And the complete lack of any mention of Actors' Equity, AEA. Rachel and Santana would need to join the union to be in Funny Girl on Broadway.
That's a major part of professional theater.
They completely glossed over it. Rachel auditioning for Funny Girl with Don't Stop Believing. Again, what? And Santana singing Don't Rain on My Parade in a lower key. Big no-no.
Yeah, you generally don't touch that song in an audition unless you're Barbara.
And you sing in the original key. Santana, as Rachel's understudy in Funny Girl with no experience, no agent, no real resume.
Come on.
It's Broadway. They're not going to cast a random girl with no credits as the understudy for the lead.
It's just not realistic.
And rehearsing Funny Girl on an actual Broadway stage, those theaters cost a fortune to rent. They'd be rehearsing in some tiny studio with tape on the floor.
Glee really romanticized the rehearsal process.
Big time. And Will turning down a role in an original Broadway musical for the Glee Club, he would have had a contract. Teachers don't get paid over the summer.
That was a head-scratcher.
It was. Okay, I need a moment to process all that Glee musical theater craziness.
Take your time.
Deep breaths. All right, now let's move on to some real-life controversies and behind-the-scenes drama, because there was a lot.
Oh, yeah. Glee had its fair share of off-screen drama.
Remember Barbra Streisand's initial reaction to Glee? Not if I can help it.
Ouch.
I know, right? Her reps later said it was because of her schedule, but still.
It stung.
It did. And then all the artists who refused to let Glee use their music.
Really? Like who?
Kings of Leon, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Guns N' Roses, even Justin Timberlake, who was supposedly an inspiration for Will Schuester.
Wow.
Coldplay initially said no too, but thankfully they changed their minds.
That's good.
And comparing Glee to Grease and saying Glee was worse.
Savage.
And then the copyright infringement allegations. Colton Ford, DJ Earworm, Greg Laswell, they all claimed Glee basically stole their arrangements.
That's not cool.
Not cool at all. And Samantha Ware's tweets in 2020 about Lea Michelle's alleged behavior on set.
Right.
Calling her first TV job a living hell, saying Leah threatened to shit in her wig. Those accusations started a much-needed conversation.
Absolutely a conversation about on-set behavior, power dynamics, and the experiences of marginalized actors.
The casting of Artie Abrams in an able-bodied actor playing a character in a wheelchair, it's been a point of contention for a long time.
I can understand why.
The producers saying they needed someone who could act and sing? Yikes. Not a good look. And Kevin McHale's even said he doesn't think he should have played the role.
Yeah, it was a missed opportunity for representation.
And Sue's offensive comments to Artie, calling him a cripple and half a kid, especially considering her sister Jean had Down syndrome.
It was insensitive and out of line. Host.